The bell tolls. The midnight hour is upon us. It's time once again for two internet strangers to discuss the good and evil of the horror genre. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the terror within the Hallow-Holics Anonymous podcast.
Hello, Michael Douglas. Are you surprised? This is what you forced me to do. I guess you thought you'd get away with it. Well, you can't. Because part of you is growing inside of... What the hell? I'm not reading this.
But it's a perfect satirical skit analyzing the infamous sequences in Fatal Attraction and...
You literally copied and pasted this from Wikipedia and just changed the name, didn't you?
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Corey. And this is Hallow-Holics Anonymous, a show dedicated to all things horror and occasionally Halloween.
And we're back to our old routine. Monster of the week, killer of the week, theme of the week.
And my movie actually is a Halloween movie, too.
Oh, it is, because she's wearing the costume at the end. You're right.
It will be just after Halloween.
And mine is more of a Christmas movie.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think that's at least Christmas party at the beginning, isn't it? I
think so.
We'll just say it is.
Okay.
And Halloween and Christmas go hand in hand.
They do. There's a lot of red in both holidays.
Mm-hmm. And in both of these movies. A little more red in yours, though.
Yeah.
We're talking about Fatal Attraction in May, by the way.
Right. It was supposed to be our breakup episode. Because I'm once again a single gentleman. I have been for quite some time, though. So the whole, yes, I'm a lone wolf. So the whole, sort of point of doing a breakup episode to help me heal and work through it is not something I need. So when we originally planned this episode, I thought maybe I would need it. But I don't, because I don't feel feelings.
Oh. Well, at least Rocktober took care of you, right?
Rocktober did take care of me.
And now it's no dismember.
Valid effort. Good try.
Well, just to move past that.
Mm-hmm.
So my film was, of course, Fatal Attraction, because I always seem to pick the 80s movies. And that one is more about very bad choices when you're in committed relationships. And yours is about... May is about very bad choices when you can't seem to be in a committed relationship.
Mine is about a hopeless romantic who doesn't understand how the world works.
She doesn't understand normal human interaction. You're correct.
No, which bothers me, but we'll get to that because I have a feeling you have stuff to say about that too.
Oh, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
But first, Horror Pack.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
No, we have a whole clip for that. You don't have to make sound effects.
That's a good point. All right. So, Horror Pack this month. I think this month sucks, I think.
Aww.
I mean, maybe not. There is a double feature, so I actually got 5 movies instead of 4.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's something. But there's nothing in here that really, other than the double feature, there's nothing here that really catches my eye. So let's jump into it. Oh, sounded like a YouTuber.
Well, that's, it is what it is.
All right. First off, and I think I already own this. I think this came in one of the coffin boxes, but I can't remember. Anyway, it's Spawn, the director's cut of
Oh, my God.
Now, I'm okay with owning it because I don't hate this movie. I don't like what they did to the plot of the comics in the movie, but I really, really like John Leguizamo as Violator / the Clown.
Dude, I could watch John Leguizamo in the past. My standards for his movies are pretty low.
Stinky dinky. Oh, I don't even want to think about the past. No. Plus, people are going to accuse us of ripping off last podcast again because they talk about the pest all the time.
Someone accused us of that?
No, but you know what? Those guys don't have a monopoly on all weird film.
Mm-hmm.
Leave some for the rest of us.
Of course, they do have monopoly on some of the sound riffs we've done and the references, but...
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spawn is the first one. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you know the plot. I'm not going to read the plot. Let's see if the back says anything interesting.
We should eventually do an episode about the new Joker movie and Spawn.
At the same time?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I did see the new Joker movie. I liked it.
I might lean towards talking more about the HBO series, but I'll touch on the film.
The series was so good.
It was. Spawn is my favorite anti-hero.
He was mine growing up. Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Imagine a creature on the verge of creation. From comic book legend Todd McFarlane comes the live-action special effects movie Spawn. Michael Jai White, John Leguizamo, and Martin Sheen star in a battle beyond good, beyond evil, and beyond imagination.
I forgot Martin Sheen was in that.
I was just going to say the exact same.
I bet you the effects probably aged really badly.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I remember
the
CGI on the cape not looking that great back in the day. I can only imagine how much worse it is on Blu-ray now that we can see all the seams of it.
I think any hero who sees Spawn's cape needs to just give up on capes altogether. There's no way you can get a better cape than his.
Oh, for sure. I guess the Spawn reboot, next one, whatever, is still like out there. Like it's still got some
legs.
May still get made, and I really hope so, because they've been talking about like concentrating more on the dark, like horror aspects, which was like all the good stuff in Spawn. So I'm excited for that if it ever happens.
Well, it's like at its heart, it's such a good story.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is Faust essentially, so it is a tragedy.
Yeah.
And it's like the perfect tragedy, like the things that Spawn has to go through. I'm forgetting what his real name is. It doesn't matter.
Well, and it's cool is that he's an African-American superhero.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the most tragic things about him in the comic book. I think they might touch on it in I don't remember if they do it in the movie, but they do it in the cartoon, how he can turn himself into a regular human, but he's white. Like, I forget if they did it. It definitely happened in the comics. Like, he tried to go visit his girlfriend, but could only turn himself into a white dude.
Yeah, she wouldn't, he couldn't tell her anything about who he is.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, next up. These are in no particular order, because I don't know. So this is from the producers of VHS and VHS2. You guys all know how I feel about things being from the producer of somebody else. It's a bunch of crap. So this one's called Under the Bed. Chris Bumbre from Arrow in the Head calls it terrific and scary, an ambitious piece of genre cinema with polish and grandiosity. Every child knows about the monster under the bed. Neil Houseman's mistake was trying to fight it. Neil has returned from a 2-year exile following his tragic attempt to defeat the monster, only to find his father ticking ever closer to a breakdown, a new stepmother who fears him, and his little brother Paul.
There's only one movie that ever really tackled the idea of the boogeyman properly, and it was like a made-for-TV Disney movie. I can't remember right now.
Is it Mr. Boogedy?
No. It was a different one. It was like from the 90s. I want to say it was something like also called Under the Bed or something along those lines, but I don't think anyone else can tackle boogeymen like that movie did. So I'm probably not going to watch Under the Bed.
Yeah, no, I'm not super interested in this either. Well, Neil and Paul work together to try and fight the nocturnal menace. Their parents are taking desperate measures to get the family back to normal. With no support from their parents, the brothers have nothing to rely on but each other and courage beyond belief. This looks terrible.
You know, I just changed my mind. Little Monsters did an awesome job with the Under the Bed concept.
Yes, it did.
The original. Now I have to distinguish them because now there's 2 movies with the same title.
So is this a sequel?
What?
Under the Bed. It reads like it's a sequel, but it doesn't say anything about it being a sequel. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so yeah, Under the Bed, whatever. All right, next up is the Horror Pack Limited Edition Blu-ray called Hexing. When Hannah returns... This one is really poorly packaged, too. It's like giant writing. Like, somebody made this on their printer.
And it's on Blu-ray?
Well, I mean, it's better than I'm making it out to be, but not much. When Hannah returns home to her estranged father to piece together the circumstances of her mother's death, she discovers an ancient occult tool used by tantrics in India. Hannah's discovery unearths a deadly curse from the past which threatens to destroy everyone around her.
Did they say tantrics?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's the promise of boobs in this film, maybe. All right, next is the Sinister Cinema double feature. Raven Banner Releasing presents Tragedy Girls and MFA.
Well, you like Tragedy Girls, right?
I don't think I've seen it, have I?
I think you have.
A sweet story of believable high school friendship between two girls who just happen to be sociopaths. It sounds right up my alley. Friends who slay together, stay together. And the tagline for MFA is Mastering the Art of Revenge.
That is so generic.
I can't tell if I've seen Tragedy Girls or not.
The tagline might as well be, somebody dies in this movie.
Right. All right, Tragedy Girls. Sadie and Michaela, two social media obsessed best friends, kidnap an unambitious local serial killer and force him to mentor them into modern horror legends as they use their online show about real life tragedies to send their small town into a frenzy. I've definitely not seen that. And MFA, Francesca Eastwood gives a breakout performance as an art student who is sexually assaulted at a party. After struggling to receive any support from her college to find justice and cope with her trauma, she impulsively confronts her attacker, a decision that has deadly repercussions. As she tracks down fellow rape survivors, an unlikely vigilante is born.
Interesting. So it's kind of I Spit on Your Grave kind of knockoff.
Yeah, sounds like. Well, this one, okay, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the best horror pack I've ever had. Pretty disappointing for the October horror pack, though, yeah?
Yeah, because we're recording this on October 28th.
Yeah, this should have been the Halloween horror pack, and it wasn't super impressive.
Maybe November will be better.
Maybe they get confused. I mean, maybe they just don't understand what Halloween is. Or maybe to the cool horror kids, Halloween comes at a different time, and I don't know about it because I'm not a cool horror kid.
Maybe they're like, we can't get the rights to all the big, names that people know related to Halloween, so let's give people something they haven't seen at all, probably. They'll be super excited about that, chumps.
That can be said about just about every horror pack I've gotten.
All right.
A look that led to
I love that old voice.
To the party, that was obvious. You're on your own for the night, that's also obvious.
a mistake he'd regret all his life.
Now, where's your wife?
Honey,
And you're here with a strange girl being a naughty boy.
I don't think having dinner with anybody.
Everybody in this movie's terrible.
Yeah. Well, the little girl's not.
I've got to see you.
Oh, I'm sure she's terrible too. She's just terrible off
She
screen.
keeps calling me apart.
Hello?
Every time
She
I
probably
pick up the phone, she hangs
punched
up.
one of her classmates.
You think the wife is terrible?
I'm scared, Jimmy.
You play fair with me?
I have a problem with people forgiving people when I don't think they deserve to be forgiven. So I guess that kind of makes me a terrible person.
Yeah.
But she definitely seems like she was forgiving him way too easily.
Family again, I'll kill you, you understand?
Well, they could only spend so much time developing her side of the story because she wasn't the main character.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whatever resentment she's feeling, she's probably got it out of her system.
That is the worst advice
What if she
ever.
didn't get it out of her system? What then?
Then you are
Fatal
screwed.
attraction.
I guess you thought you'd get away with it. Well, you can't.
Bum, 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 bum.
So dramatic. Ugh.
So I'm glad you made me watch this. I remember hating it, like I think I've only ever seen it the whole way through once before when I was younger. So I wasn't really looking forward to watching it again, but I actually enjoyed it. I'm really glad I did.
Well, and also, from a technical standpoint, the cameraman had a good eye. They had a lot of just really great technical aspects to the film
That's true.
as well. I mean, even if I hate a movie, I can at least appreciate it visually if it's done right. But I actually enjoyed this movie. This is a dark,
Yeah, me too.
this is a dark and twisted thriller about a young rabbit expecting to go home to a beautiful life with a happy family, only to find out things are about to go terribly wrong when an unexpected visitor arrives.
Oh, that poor thing.
And I guess Glenn Close and Michael Douglas are banging at some point there. Really, this is all about the rabbit.
Are banging at some point. That's all they do.
Jesus. But you know what? Glenn Close was shockingly beautiful in this film.
Yeah, she would have been 42. I did the math.
Yeah.
She was in that role.
You know, she was actually super nervous when she auditioned. She hadn't done any really, really big roles as these types of characters yet. She was usually like more of a toned down, almost like the girl next door type of character.
Mm-hmm.
She'd never done like the whole full on sexy thing. And obviously she became famous for those types of roles later, but yeah. Apparently she had to take a couple Zoloft before her audition though, because she was that nervous. Not Zoloft, Xanax. Xanax, yeah. Who knows? She might have mixed them.
Yeah, Zoloft test, it's an antidepressant, isn't it? So it's got to build up in your system. It wouldn't do much. Yeah. Unless she's already on it.
But still, watching this movie kind of like, it reminded me, because sometimes I forget like what a really good character actor she is. Mm-hmm. And I know this is probably, for any theater geeks who are listening, this is probably going to be like tantamount to committing a sin, but I like her more than Meryl Streep. And she's a lot more intense. I think she's got more depth.
I think I do too. I think I like her attitude a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's just more intense. Like, I don't really picture Meryl Streep ever playing the psycho.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot she was in The World According to Garp. That movie's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm perusing IMDb as we discuss.
I think in this movie, the thing that bothered me the most was Dan's character, played by Michael Douglas. He's such a calm and almost emotionless person with this polished veneer before things start to go really like crazy. Like, even when his wife comes home after the weekend affair he has, his look when he sees his family, when he thinks they're not watching him, it's not a guilty look. It's not like he regrets what he did. He just looks sort of empty. Like, well,
no, that's what I mean. Like, everybody in this movie's terrible. Like, he shows no remorse except for the fact that he got busted, really.
Yeah, and his immediate suggestion when she says she's pregnant is get an abortion. And he gets pissed off that she doesn't want to get an abortion.
Yeah. I guess maybe that's fairly realistic, too. People are terrible.
Yeah, and that's one thing I really appreciated about this movie is it actually showed more depth to this man who had an affair by doing that. And it showed more depth to the woman who went crazy, too. She wasn't just one-dimensional. She had elements of her that you almost kind of understood and sympathized with before she went completely off the rails.
Yeah, they did a good job with her build-up, kind of, too. Introducing her as kind of this sort of free spirit, easygoing woman when she turns out to be pretty much the exact opposite of that. You know, like her entire character is a facade in this movie, and she plays it so well.
Yeah, and some people, apparently, I don't know, I haven't read any actual arguments from real feminists, but I've read arguments from people who say feminists hate this movie, so I really don't think feminists actually hate this movie. Mm-hmm. And if they do, it would be just because they haven't actually watched it, because, I mean, this isn't about a man being a victim. It's about a whole family being a victim of his choices.
Right, right.
Like, he pretty much almost makes a Faustian or monkey's paw kind of choice here when he's bored with his family life, right? Mm-hmm. The sort of thing that, the two things that lead to him having this really short affair is his wife wanting them to leave the party early because she's tired and she has to get their kid to bed. And then when he wants to get busy with her, he goes into their bedroom and she's got the kid in the bed. You know? That's like what leads him to be pent up enough when they go away for the weekend to say, yeah, screw it. I'm going to sleep with this chick who's into me. That's how I felt about it anyway.
No, I think you're right. And I think this is harnessing a very specific type of masculinity that was encouraged in the 80s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This like, take what you deserve, man, sort of stupid attitude. Mm-hmm. That was very much like, people are now starting to bring it up in all these retro movies and shows about the 80s as like a negative thing about the way masculinity was
Toxic
treated in the 80s.
masculinity,
Yeah. It's very it was encouraged in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd
And
make
he
the
is
argument
definitely-
that it still is, but
Oh yeah, I think I agree. I think it is too, but I don't think I think it was worse then.
mm-hmm.
You know, not that anything
Yeah.
can make it. I mean, it's always bad, but I think it was worse then.
Well, I mean, as a side note though, like, let's talk real here. Michael Douglas. The dude was married to Deandra Luker, and he's married to Catherine Zeta-Jones. How does he do it? He's not that attractive. In fact, he's progressively gotten less and less attractive over the years. And I don't understand how in this movie his character Dan was married to such a beautiful woman and had an affair with another beautiful woman who wasn't really quite as pretty as his wife. I didn't get that.
Maybe it's his chill voice.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what it is.
Well,
I forgot he was married to Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They've been married since 2000?
Wow.
Actually, what's funny is when I was looking up, I was like, how do women fall for Michael Douglas? It was just perplexing. I actually found a really cool quote from him when he was talking about how he was talking about how he was working with Glenn Close. And he said, I just feel like it's an actor's responsibility to make the actors comfortable. It's predominantly always a male set. And I was like, okay, you've won my heart, Michael Douglas. Ladies.
That's interesting that it's cool that you would say that too, because you all the time, there's a lot of talk now in theater about boundaries and making sure people are comfortable, with the amount of physicality that goes into a role, especially when it's a scene of violence, whether it's a rape or something or some type of abuse. There's a lot of intimacy training now, I think is what it's called, that's going into this. And it's cool that he was thinking about stuff like that then,
Well, I mean, he comes from Hollywood royalty. His family's been in Hollywood since the very beginning. So I guess they have more of an understanding of how the industry works and they're more protective. I'm not sure.
Could be. I don't know.
The screenwriter James Dearden actually based this on a short film he'd written while his wife was out of town. So I'm wondering if he was
interesting
thinking about a sort of male fantasy. He was like, well, wait, hold on. What would the consequences be? I should write about that, keep myself distracted.
Could be. That makes a certain amount of sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, and maybe he wasn't even really considering it. That's the type of thing everybody thinks about that kind. It's a fantasy. Mm-hmm. So maybe he was thinking about it and he just turned it into a writing exercise that ended up paying off for him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the concept of looking into the void.
Yes.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of has those looking into the void moments, and sometimes it's not necessarily something as intense as deciding to drive into the car you're passing by or jump off of a really high building you're standing on.
I was just going to say that, yeah. Yeah, I think that people react to the call of the void differently.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's some spoilers, guys. It's been a while since 1987. I think it's okay to tell you how this movie ends, since everything that ever shows a clip from this movie always shows the ending. Every time you see a clip of Fatal Attraction, it's Glenn Close being shot.
I always see the rabbit.
Oh, yeah, that too. Oh, she boils a rabbit, by the way. Real shocker there. Actually, it was pretty shocking. It broke my heart for the little girl, mostly.
Mm-hmm. At the time, I bet that was a very shocking scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's famous as a very shocking scene. It's one reason she's considered one of the greatest movie villain characters. But there were actually two endings to this film. The one that they went with, and then the original one that was used on test audiences that left everyone pretty much feeling unfulfilled.
I didn't know about this.
Mm-hmm. The original ending had Alex killing herself and making sure she had Dan's fingerprints on the knife so that he would be framed for her murder, while she was listening to Madame Butterfly, which was an opera he had refused to go see with her. And I think they didn't even record the scene, but there was supposed to be an additional scene spliced with it where he was watching that opera while she was doing that to herself.
It's like a Gone Girl kind of thing.
Yeah, but a lot of the test audiences were left pretty unfulfilled, so they decided to go because they wanted to see Alex get what was coming to her, and her taking her own life just didn't seem right to a lot of people. because of what she had done to this family. They wanted revenge. And initially, Glenn Close was actually really upset with those changes and almost refused to go back to the set for a few weeks to do reshoots because she thought it was kind of betraying the character she played. It was completely out of character to her because she was trying to play it as more of a tragedy, an emotional character who wasn't absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
But years later, she looks back on it and she's like, it's more like a Greek tragedy, and Greek tragedies always had endings like this one. So she's happy with the ending now, but at the time she wasn't happy with the ending.
I think I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the ending. I like that they gave the killing blow to his wife.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she deserved more characterization, but short of adding time to the movie to do that, I really like that they sort of allowed her to take back a little bit of her power by being the one to pull the trigger there. At least that's how I saw it.
I mean, the last time she talked to the woman on the phone when she called was like, if you come near my family, I'll kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So she made good on that promise. In 2014, Dearden actually rewrote the script and adapted it to the stage, making Alex more sympathetic and Dan more villainous. And then he brought back the original ending. So I don't know if the play is any good. I haven't seen it, but seems like he sort of turned it into a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Plus, I mean, he's already pretty villainous. Like, I don't know, like, who's thinking he's at all a victim in this? That's doesn't even cross my mind with him.
I think he's a victim of his own decisions. But I'm not really entirely sympathetic with him. I think he made a really bad choice, and if I had seen some remorse for what he'd done, I would have felt worse for him, but he was never really sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Again, like the only time he shows anything is when he's caught, and that's not feeling sorry. Yeah. That's not learning from your mistake. That's being sad you didn't cover it up, right?
Yeah. And he shows fear. That's something he's capable of. Fear, boredom, and he's not a good man.
No. But I mean, that being said, is he really a bad man too, though, now that I think
he's just a flawed man. He's human.
Mm-hmm. He's just a man of the 80s.
Even if you're sympathetic towards Alex, from the very beginning of the movie, she saw him looking at his wife and with their child and saying, "That your wife?" She knew he was married and had a family. So she had no right whatsoever to think that he owed her anything.
That's true.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's difficult to get into the morality of that, though.
Well,
she had no right to think he owed her anything, but
especially because she turned on the seduction to like level 10 right from like every encounter until she got him into bed.
Yeah, but don't you think that should be partially up to him to, have some willpower?
No, it is up to him to have willpower, but also that doesn't make her the good person in this scenario. They're both terrible people.
No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, there are no good people here.
Yeah, and I hate her more because she boiled that little girl's rabbit.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
Yeah, and she sort of...
to put it lightly.
It's almost like she flirted with the idea of killing that child when she took her on that roller coaster. Like, she was probably thinking to herself whether or not she could do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I definitely felt that.
Yeah, and that was also pretty damning in and of itself, too.
Mm-hmm.
Brian De Palma was actually originally slated to direct this film, though.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But he didn't think Michael Douglas was sympathetic enough, so he dropped out of the picture.
Which he's right.
Yeah. So they went instead with Adrian Lyne, who had directed Flashdance. And that kind of makes me wonder how much weirder this movie would have been with like unnecessary music video style sequences.
Oh, yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I couldn't imagine this being directed any other way.
Yeah. Maybe he just loves directing maniacs on the floor.
Oh, God. I'm sorry I didn't get that, but I'm glad I didn't get that.
All in all, it was a solid dramatic film. Kind of towing the edge as it got along towards the end, as things heated up towards horror. It was more of a thriller, but I'm tired of people making the argument that thriller isn't horror. Thriller is horror. It's just horror light.
I agree. I think thrillers are definitely horror.
Yeah.
And I think this is a specific kind of horror too, because this is something that happens. This is something people can feel, even if you haven't cheated, or like, even if you haven't been the cheater or the cheatee or any of that, you can at least put yourself in these people's shoes. You know, everybody's had some sort of relationship, and everybody's been in some sort of toxic situation, you know.
Or just had someone else project very intense feelings on them that they didn't share.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. That's hitting close to home. For both of us, I think.
Speaking of intense feelings, do you have anything else to say about Fatal Attraction?
Not really. I think, yeah.
Do you ever sew, Corey?
I do, actually.
Yeah? What do you make?
Mostly people.
Mostly people? Oh.
Mostly friends, out of other friends.
Then I feel like you and this girl coming up would have a lot in
You know how
common.
when you meet someone
Is her name
and you think you
May?
like them,
Yes, it is.
but then the
Yes.
more you talk to them, you see parts you don't like.
Everyone always thought May was different.
Jesus, what are you doing? Relaxing. Doesn't it hurt? Ow! You crazy bitch!
But really, she was just
This
misunderstood.
is totally the
I need
wrong
a real
tone for this
friend.
film.
I know, I love it. It's like doing the
Don't be
rom-com thing,
mad.
and it has
Then,
no business doing
one
that.
day, May met Adam.
Hello?
The boy I saw today is different.
So what do you do, May?
I work at the animal hospital.
When I left for vacation, my dog had 4 legs. Can't
Love that
sew
part.
it back on, can you?
I could. Some people think it's kind of gross.
I love gross.
Really?
And she thought he liked her just the way she was.
Oh, I'm bleeding. May, this is weird.
You like weird.
Not that weird.
But May's new friend turned out to be just like everyone else.
I'm sorry things didn't work out between us. It just didn't feel right.
So many pretty parts, no pretty holes.
So May decided to make a friend of her own.
I need more parts. You have a beautiful neck. I love your tattoo. Can I get a few more measurements? I love your hands. You have really beautiful legs.
That's a
Make
nice
them
little
look
montage.
perfect.
Yep. May.
So first of all, I can't believe this movie's been around since 2002. I thought it was
I
a little
know.
like, I thought it was like maybe like 2010 at the like I didn't think it was any older than that.
Well, I don't know, because it does feel like an early 2000s movie with the cuts. And
Oh, for sure.
some of
Now that
the filters.
now that I went back and watched it, and as the cast too, I mean, what's her name? Anna Kendrick?
Anna Faris.
Anna Faris, that's
I had
it.
forgotten she was in this, and I love Anna Faris.
I do too. James Duvall, Jeremy Sisto, like this is a very, this was like the 90s B movie cast. Like James Duvall was in every B movie that happened in the mid 90s up through, shoot, he was in Donnie Darko. So like all that stuff.
I'm not a big fan of Donnie Darko.
I like the director's cut. It explains things a little bit better.
But the casting of Angela Batiste as May was just inspired. It was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's really great in this. So May is played by Angela Bettis, like we just said. She is a she has a lazy eye and was diagnosed with it as a child and had to wear an eye patch. And this alienated her from the other kids, and it sort of kept her out of social circles way more than I think.
I think her mom had a lot to do with
Yeah,
that.
I think her mom did too. But a lot of this movie, we were talking about it earlier when you said that a lot of the problems of this movie could have been negated if somebody just told May not to bite people. I think that even if a television would have raised May, she'd understand that she's being creepy and awkward most of the time. You know what I mean? But she's got no
like
self-awareness at all.
Yeah.
I think she's for sure on the spectrum. I wonder if the director was considering that. I don't know.
Your heart goes out to her, like, even with the things she does. It's just every sequence, it breaks.
Mm-hmm. And they did it so well, too, because her awkwardness, like every scene she's in and all the weird stuff she does, they drag it out just a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it
So
never really gets... Yeah, and she plays the role so well that you never really feel the cringe that you could very easily feel from somebody playing a role like this. You never really get there. It stays sort of in the awkward yet endearing until it moves into the awkward but creepy / scary.
When she just loses it, yeah.
Yeah, when she just loses it. So when she does lose it, it's because she meets... what's his name? Played by Jeremy Sisto, who I love. He's amazing in everything. His name is Adam.
I had such a crush on him when I first saw this movie.
I think it's impossible not to have a crush on him. He's such a pretty dude.
Like, and the voice and everything.
And his hands.
He does have nice hands.
He does have very nice hands. So, and that's another thing. She's very obviously obsessed with his hands in this. So, if this movie wasn't so well shot and well directed, I think that you would have sort of realized what was happening a lot sooner. That she would eventually be making this person out of pieces. Yeah. We've got her dating Adam, sort of going out with him. And he specifically says he likes weird. He's into weird. And she's definitely weird. But she doesn't understand where the line is. Yeah, she doesn't understand where the line is. So she ends up biting him, drawing blood. I feel like everybody should know where the line is here, and like wiping his blood all over her, and they end up breaking up.
Or really, he ghosts her. He tries.
Yeah, he ghosts her. So she spends a little bit of time rebounding with Anna Faris's Polly, her lesbian coworker. But Polly is also not interested in a relationship. She's interested in playing the field. She's also dating another woman, Ambrosia. So May's mother gave her some very good advice as a child. She said, if you can't find friends, then you just need to make your own. And she gives her a creepy doll. I don't know. Why does she say the doll can't come out of the box? Is that
it's a very special doll. It's a collector's item. She doesn't want to damage. Oh,
just because it's a thing. Yeah. Okay. And there's blind kids.
Oh, that part was so horrible. And you kept hoping. You thought that this little girl who didn't want to socialize. You thought, okay, this is going to be May's link to.
This is what's going to ground her.
Yeah, but nope.
No. And this is, to me, this is the peak of the movie, too. May brings in this doll, Susie, for show and tell, because she's volunteering with the blind kids now at the preschool. Those kids were pretty old to be in preschool, too, weren't they?
Elementary school, not preschool.
I thought she said preschool.
Pretty sure it was elementary school.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? So they want to take the doll out of the box, and they're blind, so they see by touching, right? May's not having it. They get into a tug of war over the doll. The doll drops. It smashes on the floor. The glass breaks everywhere, and the kids find out the doll's out, and they want to get the doll. So all these blind kids start crawling around in the broken glass.
Oh, and it's horrible.
Oh, it's so, and that is like the peak of this. That's the most horrible thing to me that happens in this movie, is watching everybody clawing around in this broken glass.
Yeah. And that's kind of not very far off from when she finally just completely loses it.
No, yeah. This movie is almost 20 years old, so I'm going to spoil it.
I think there's not a whole lot already, yeah.
I think I did too. There's not a whole lot to spoil here, though, because it just kind of...
It's a clear line.
It doesn't end like Maniac ended. You know, you don't get like... May doesn't get her comeuppance for murdering all these people and sewing them into some big uber person. In fact,
I feel like it's more them getting their comeuppance for not understanding her.
For treating her, the way they did. Yeah, kind of. But I mean, if anything,
poorly.
Yeah. And if anything, it's a happy ending for May.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether it's her delusion or all of a sudden some sort of magic took over and actually animated this corpse, it's caressing her face with the hands that she loved.
Someone finally loves her.
Mm-hmm.
Though I'm pretty sure her dad loved her.
I don't remember anything mentioned about the dad.
There was only one sequence. It was that birthday party at the beginning when her dad gave her a nice gift and then her mom pulled out the creepy doll.
Oh, okay.
Willing to bet Dad probably walked out early because of that.
Oh, that's right. Dad didn't have sleeves on. I remember now.
It's a good movie. It really
is. It is.
is.
You meet people like May. People, and maybe not people who are cutting other people apart and sewing them into uber people, but like we all know awkward people, awkward girls, awkward boys.
And sometimes we are those awkward people.
Yeah, sometimes we are. So it's really easy to relate to May and sort of put yourself in her shoes. Like,
and I'll be the first person to admit, sometimes I meet that awkward person and I get annoyed and I'm not as good a person as I should be. I'm not as nice to them,
me too.
You know?
No, me too. It's those people can test your patience sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the point I was going to make on this.
You're not making the point that we're assholes?
Oh no, I mean that's pretty well obvious that we're that. I think we proved that.
If you listen to all 74 episodes at this point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, where was I going with that shit?
We meet these awkward people.
Yeah, I mean some more than others, and she's played so well. Angela Bettis plays this role so well that she's so believable. With like these little touches like sucking her thumb and like I said, the scenes that take a little bit longer than they should. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's just really believable in that role and it just makes it all more relatable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm really having trouble communicating what I'm getting at here, I think.
It's because you see the good side of her. You see that she's a good person. You see that all the weird stuff she does, it's not because she has some compulsion to freak people out. It's not because she's a freak. It's because she doesn't know how to interact. She didn't learn those social skills. And she doesn't understand people's reactions to her. And no one's ever understood her.
No. And that's another thing we're getting that all of these all these people involved with her aren't getting. We're seeing the whole picture. You know, I'm forgetting that we're the audience here. Mm-hmm. We saw her childhood. We saw her interactions with everybody else. We see what's going on in her head. Adam doesn't. Polly doesn't. They see what's in the moment. You know, they've got bits and pieces. So, of course, Adam's going to be freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't know where she came from. And I don't think he even really cares. I think he's just there to be cool and get laid.
Well, he only met her 2 or 3 times too before an encounter was not a normal encounter.
No.
She described her job about like suturing up that dog and then the dog fought like its stomach coming open. And she was like kind of giggling about it.
Yeah, well, to be fair, the dog did survive. She said she sewed him back up later.
No, she didn't say he survived. She just said she sewed him back up later.
Well, I'm taking that as it survived because I don't like it when animals die. Except for that rabbit.
Oh, you liked when that rabbit died? What's
I don't
wrong
like
with
rabbits. I don't like rabbits. Your voice just cracked. You just my comment just angered you through puberty. I'm sorry.
You're an ass. You have nice hands, Corey.
I do. I mean, they're a little dry right now, but they're very nice hands. So I don't know. You look at the trivia. I don't think there was a whole lot. Like this director's always confused me. Lucky McKee.
Mm-hmm. It's good to have directors like that.
Mm-hmm. But he sort of came out of nowhere, like, and all of a sudden, like, he was lumped in with, I don't know, like Joe Hill and John Carpenter, all that stuff, just because he was the one that, I'm pretty sure he's the one that founded Masters of Horror. Like, that was his deal.
I enjoyed that series.
No, I'm sorry. It was Mick Garris. Yeah, Mick Garris is the one that did Masters of Horror. I love Masters of Horror, too.
Yeah. Some of the episodes are missed, but most of them are hit in some good way. Dude, wait a minute. Was he involved in that bug episode? Because I definitely get the same vibe from that.
You know what? He was. That's the one he did.
Really? Man, nailed it.
He also did this movie called All Cheerleaders Die. I feel like I should see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he did The Woman, which is a loose sequel to a film about a feral family. I don't know. The Woman is actually really interesting. Angela Bettis is in this as well. I think it's Frontiers. I think it's a loose. I don't know. Have you ever seen The Woman?
I don't think I have.
You ever seen Dead Girl? Okay. It's not really like Dead Girl, but it's sort of the same idea. Like this suburban family finds this feral woman, and if you watch the movie before, like this is one of those feral family stories where they just like murder other people, right? So the father of this family captures this woman and keeps her like locked up in the garage, and it just becomes this like he turns out to be the evil one, and he's exerting his power over women by doing terrible things to her, and he's dragging his family along. It's really interesting.
Kind of reminds me of a Scandinavian movie called Tal.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's so good. But the opening shows you this like there's a girl, and all we know is that she has to stay submerged in this bathtub. She can't really speak. And she's been tortured for years by this guy who's sort of, I guess, a father figure to her. And it's an interesting film. Dark fairy tale.
I'll have to check it out. Sounds interesting.
It's fantastic. Yeah, so, May. That was a good movie.
Yeah. Lucky McGee, he's the guy making out with his girlfriend in the elevator both times. They reshot the scene with James Duval. I don't care, though.
I would love if there was an actor who, like, as an extra, who was always the guy making out with someone in the background. And if, like, there was a running universe theme, like, he was the same character. He just happened to be in all these scenarios.
Sort of like Stanley as the Watcher.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's funny. Jeremy Sisto's last name, he's credited as Adam Stubbs.
Oh.
It's because he loses his hands.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's May.
Both of them are actually pretty emotional movies, all in all.
I wasn't expecting to feel as much as I felt for the characters involved in these movies. I expected to just like rewatch a couple of movies I hadn't seen in a long time and talk about them. You know, I didn't really plan on revisiting them as actual like intelligent things, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I'm glad we did too. It's nice to kind of challenge ourselves once in a while.
Yeah.
But what do we want to do next week? Are you opening a door?
Let's just make those noises. We'll do an art house episode and just make those noises next episode for an hour and a half.
We can talk about that 1 million hour movie that's just a bunch of like colors. And then like a 3-hour long like credit sequence.
I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay. Well.
Is it a real thing?
I don't know if it's 1 million colors, but there is one that like the guy was like, "You want to be a producer? Give me $1." And he got like a lot of people to give him money so that like it was just like a 2-second film and then like an hour-long credit sequence of all the producers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. What do we want to do? Well, you have to go see House of the Devil. Do you want to just throw that in there?
What would pair well with it?
The Void.
If you want to talk about The Void, we can talk about The Void.
Do I want to talk about The Void, though? Maybe The Void's not so good.
I kind of feel like if I was going to do The Void, I'd want to talk about Dagon.
Oh, God, you just want to make me watch Dagon again?
It's a good movie. Everybody needs to give it a second chance, okay? It nails the H.P. Lovecraft emotions.
Actually, Lords of Salem would fit pretty well with House of the Devil.
No. I'm not ready for Lords of Salem.
Oh, you're such an asshole.
The Babysitter?
Yeah, I could watch that again.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good. It's sort of a comedy versus a... Yeah, because House of the Devil is pretty intense.
Mm-hmm. So The Babysitter and House of the Devil next week, guys. If you want to check out our blog, you can find us at Hallow-Holics.
Hold on 1 second. I'm screwing that up. I'm sorry. I was typing. Okay, go ahead.
If you want to check out our blog, you can find us at hallowholic.blogspot.com or hallowholic.wordpress.com.
You can find us in the Twitterverse by searching Hallow-Holics or typing in @nowhere23.
Are you like a crypt keeper or a ghost now? I can't.
I don't know what I was. I think I kind of lost the plot halfway through, so I just kind of gave up.
Okay. Well, you can also email us at Hallow-Holics@outlook.com if you want to give Corey a critique of his performance.
The man is back, and he's laying small traps all around my house, so if I get up during the night, it's not like it won't kill me, but he's like setting up all these places for me to stub my toe.
Oh, sort of like a mousetrap scenario, and he's going to put a cherry on a table, like when you're standing near all the mousetraps, like you're surrounded by them. And...
No, he's specifically just setting up places for me to stub my toe.
Oh, okay.
But if I make sure to tell people to go to Podpedia and search for our portal at HHA, he will give me the map to all the toe stubbing spots in my house.
And he's not just going to gather them up?
No.
No.
He never cleans up after himself. That's the big problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he leaves blood everywhere and, like, weapons all around my house. I don't even know how he gets in anymore. I've given up trying to figure that out.
Hey, I smell something burning. Corey, are you cooking something?
No.
Okay. Great improv.
Sorry. I almost went into Coyote Guy Jake. That's what happened there. I don't know. That pot over there's been on the stove since we started the show. Do you want to go see what's in there? Because I didn't. I thought you were making it.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to regret this, but hey, I regret a lot of things when we do a show together.
Everything will be fine. Good night, guys.